The Texans just traded Jadeveon Clowney to the Seattle Seahawks. And look, I was okay with trading Jadeveon Clowney if it meant that we got some good protection for Deshaun Watson, because at the end of the day, on this team, Deshaun Watson is the number one priority. He's a franchise quarterback. And then you guys saw what happened with Andrew Luck. Took years of beating early in his career, and when they finally built him an O-line, he was already done, and he retired way too early at the age of 29. So that really kind of scared me. I'm like, oh my god, Deshaun Watson's on the same path. So, F it, whatever. Let's go get Laramie Tunsil at whatever cost. Sure, give up that first round pick and Jadeveon Clowney for Laramie Tunsil. Those were the rumors. But, unfortunately, Texans didn't get Laramie Tunsil. Instead, they trade Jadeveon Clowney to the Seattle Seahawks for a 2020 third-round pick, Barkevious Mingo, and Jacob Martin. 2 edge rushers. Oh my god. I was literally out here going insane this whole, morning, seeing all these little rumors. First started off with Seattle, and I was like, Seattle, Seattle don't got anything to offer us. And then I started seeing the name Jermaine Ifedi come up, the Seahawks' terrible right tackle, and I was like, hell no, if we get that guy, I'll be pissed. And then I seen their center be thrown in there, Justin Britt, and I was like, okay, maybe we could get him and something else in return. But then the actual trade comes out. Seriously? Barkevious Mingo, a bust that wasn't going to make the Seahawks roster, and Jacob Martin, a 6th round pick from a year ago. Now, I am hearing some good things about Jacob Martin, but still, a 6th round pick from a year ago for Jadeveon Clowney. I don't care whatever way you try to say it, try to make this sound like a good trade. This is not a good trade. It's not. And I understand that Jadeveon Clowney's value is at an all-time low right now because of him not being able to negotiate a new contract yet until the season's over. I understand that, but still, regardless, trading a player like Jadeveon Clowney for a 3rd-round pick and 2 players that'll probably not have an impact on your season, that's a bad deal. Now, if you're a Seahawks fan watching this, you should be very happy because you guys pretty much stole Jadeveon Clowney. All these little rumors you might hear about Jadeveon Clowney. Oh, he has bad work ethic. That's not true. Oh, he's always hurt. Hasn't really been hurt these past 3 years. Oh, he can't get sacks. He gets a lot of pressure. Yeah, his sack numbers aren't crazy high, but he'll make a huge difference in the run game, and I 100% believe that Jadeveon Clowney is the best run stopper in the NFL. I believe he's better than Aaron Donald in terms of stopping the run. And yes, if you guys follow me, I think Aaron Donald is the best player in football right now. But Clowney, when it comes to stopping the run, he's on a whole other level. You can line up Clowney anywhere, and he'll be disruptive from anywhere. So if you're a Seahawks fan watching this video, congrats. You just screwed us over. Now, Texans fans, what else can I say? They got robbed. This is pathetic. Picture it this way. Pretend Jadeveon Clowney wasn't on the roster this offseason, and then throw in Barkevious Mingo and Jacob Martin into the mix this preseason. Barkevious Mingo doesn't make this team. Jacob Martin, he probably barely makes the team, or he gets IR stashed or on the practice squad. Texans traded Jadeveon Clowney for a 3rd round pick. They gave him away for free, pretty much. Like, honestly, it wouldn't shock me if Barkevious Mingo gets cut in a few weeks. The guy has been around for quite a while, and he's just not good. He's been on 3 teams, Cleveland, Indy, and Seattle, and now the Texans are the 4th team. The guy's just not good. Jacob Martin, maybe he has potential. Seahawks fans, Seattle people are saying some good things about him, but still, you're trading a guy who we know is an absolute beast, a guy who we know wrecks games. You got to see Clowney just completely take over games. Clowney, for crying out loud, he's like the only guy on the defensive side of the ball that ever shows up to big games. Remember the Eagles game from last year, 2018? Who was the only guy on the defense actually making plays? Clowney. Let's see. That playoff game versus the Raiders, Clowney. Playoff game that same year versus the Patriots, Clowney. Clowney had Tom Brady crying. Tom Brady was literally crying to the refs that Jadeveon Clowney kept hitting him. And keep in mind, these weren't dirty hits. There were clean hits, but Tom Brady just kept getting bullied by Clowney all day. Did J.J. Watt ever do that? No. I love Watt, but Watt don't show up to these big games. Clowney does. Literally, what the Texans are doing right now, they're putting everything on Deshaun Watson. And don't get me wrong, Deshaun Watson is an excellent quarterback who can easily carry this team on his back. But it comes back to the same thing. Andrew Luck. We're putting Deshaun Watson in the same situation that Andrew Luck was in the mid-2010s. 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, those years, The Colts had terrible rosters, didn't have much defensively, terrible O-line. It was just Andrew Luck versus the world. It's what it is right now. It's Deshaun Watson versus the other team. It's not the Houston Texans. It's Deshaun Watson. That's what it is. And, Luck just retired, and it makes it look even worse for the Texans. And every day, the Texans are looking like a dysfunctional franchise more and more. I'm sorry if you guys are diehard Texans fans that will support them no matter what, but that's the reality of it. That was a terrible trade. They lost a defensive piece that's a cornerstone player that you could literally build around. They chose 2 guys over 30 years old, J.J. Watt and Merciless, over the young guy. Who does that? Nobody does that. Only the Texans. This trade is terrible. And here's the sad reality of all this. The Texans, with Clowney or no Clowney, they're still the best team in the AFC South, now that Andrew Luck's retired. They're probably still going to win the division because of Deshaun Watson. They're still going to go to the playoffs. I 100% believe that. Unless something tragic like a Deshaun Watson injury or a D-Hop injury happens, the Texans will easily beat out Tennessee and Jacksonville for the division. You know why that's sad? Because now it's all on Cal McNair. Will Cal McNair fire Bill O'Brien after the season? Obviously, if O'Brien has a 4-12 or a terrible season, he'll get fired. But I don't see that. I see the Texans going to the playoffs and getting embarrassed in the first round again. Will Cal McNair fire Bill O'Brien if he makes the playoffs? That's the question you got to keep in mind. Because, again, Tennessee, they ain't got a quarterback. Their O-line isn't that good. Defensively, they're not that impressive in my opinion. Jacksonville, Nick Foles ain't got no one to throw to. Nick Foles isn't good anywhere outside of Philly. Defensively, they're not the same 2017 team they were before. And then Indy, they don't even have a quarterback. So it's literally where the Colts were a few years ago. In fact, you could even say the Colts and the Texans swapped places. Back then, the Colts didn't have that good of a roster, but they had this amazing quarterback in Andrew Luck. And the Texans had this great roster, but they had no quarterback. Now, the tables have turned. The Texans have a questionable roster with a great quarterback, and the Colts have this great roster with no quarterback. So, let's see what happens, man. At this point, Bill O'Brien's putting it all on Deshaun Watson to save his job, and honestly, Deshaun Watson's a winner, so Deshaun Watson's going to do what he does, win. So it's all on Cal McNair to save us from this mess. Cal McNair hasn't been here enough for me to know if he'd fire a playoff coach or not, but at the end of the day, this whole Jadeveon Clowney trade thing, it's just a huge mess. Markevius Mingo, Jacob Martin, and the 3rd round pick. That's pathetic. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on this whole Clowney trade. It's just bad. But yeah, I'll see you guys later, I guess. Peace.